Hi there, this is Linda and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. In this video, I'm putting together my Project Life spread for the week of March 31st through April 6th, 2025, and I'm working with the Fun Storyteller Kit from Ali Edwards. Let's go ahead and dive right in. Okay, so this is the first week of April. And I wanted to use this is the Fun Storyteller Kit from Ali Edwards. I planned 3 spreads using this kit, and I did one in January, one in February, and this one I meant to do in March, and I guess there's one day in March, but I bumped it to this week because I knew I had some fun stuff scheduled for this week, and I wanted to use it for that, for these stories. So I plan to use this was fun card. And I'm thinking I want to kind of lay these out across the middle. I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with that, but that was my initial thought, rather than like I could stagger them like this. But I'm thinking I kind of want to do them across the middle, but we'll see. Then I had this one 4x6 photo. So one of the fun things this week was I met up with my 2 friends, both named Jenn, and we had like a crafty day and just like a hangout day. We went and got food and we walked around some shops. It was a fun day. So I have quite a few photos from that. And then I wanted to do some journaling in some of these, but I also printed some small photos because I thought that would be fun too. So I have a few of those, and I'm thinking I'm gonna maybe do some like journaling on top of some of those, and then journaling in the 2 other ones. I'm gonna do like my bullet point list like I usually do, and then journaling about our crafty day. So I have, most of my photos are really from this crafty day, because we did shopping and stuff, and not a lot else was going on this week. I do have some other photos that I didn't include, but I thought that these ones, let's see, would be good together. So or just good to include on the spread, so I didn't have to, print out just everyday life ones. Like I have, sorry, it's so hard to think and talk. I have a lot of little, like, here's pumpkin, here was me switching out my mugs for the new month, and I had little photos that I could print, but I wanted to print the ones for my day with my friends because they were just more, I don't know, fun or just like different. Then for here, I had some business cards I collected. I don't think I'm going to be able to include them all on here, but I'm thinking something like that. And then this shop, I have like the sticker from it. So I'm thinking I might put that on here somehow. I'll see if there's a way I can, maybe I'll put it right here across us. And then I need to find something in my stash for a title card. And then I had a few of these. So I was thinking I would put one on there, but it probably won't if I'm going to include the sticker. So I'm going to put these on a few other things. I'm thinking that one and this one would be good for embellishments. And then maybe this one. And this is my new mugs for the month of April. So I need to get a pattern paper for here and a pattern paper for here. Probably not going to use those. I need to do my journaling. I think I'm going to round the corners on these photos and maybe add some journaling on those as well, just to add a little bit more to the story. But that is pretty much it. Like, this is a very photo heavy spread because I just had a lot of photos I wanted to include. So I like all the fun colors, and yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get this one put together. Okay, so you guys probably noticed from the length of this video that this one comes together really quickly. And I think that's because I was working with a kit, which makes things so much easier from a decision perspective. And I also have a lot of photos. So most of my pockets on this spread are filled with photos. So I don't have a ton that I need to create. I pulled this piece of paper from my stash. It was actually in my scrap pile, which is where I tend to go first when I'm looking for papers to use in pocket pages or smaller albums, smaller than the full size page. And I believe this one is from Studio Calico, and it's really old. I want to say like 10 years old at least. And it's from one of my favorite collections from Studio Calico ever, which I don't recall the name of it, but I've really hoarded some of those papers, and I'm happy to finally be using using them. So I cropped it down to a 3x4 and a 4x6 to be both my title card and as a home for those embellishments or ephemera that I collected. I also added the Zackajoy sticker on top of that photo of me and my two friends, both Jenns. And because we took that in Zackajoy, and I got a couple of stickers from there and business cards, and I wanted to include them in this spread. I'm working on these This Was Fun cards that I have put along the center. I had chosen to print photos for 4 of these cards, and I'm going to use journaling in the other 2. I rounded my corners using a corner rounder punch. It was not the exact same angle as the corners on these cards, but it works perfectly fine. I'm also using some label stickers from my stash. Those are also from Studio Calico. They're from their Color Theory collection, just the black ones, to add some journaling onto some of these photos. I wanted to document some of the fun pieces of the week on This Was Fun cards. So I used them to tell the story of my new fountain pen, our new sushi dishes that we got for sushi takeout. Of course, the time with my friends, which I didn't add a label onto this photo of me with my friends because I'm going to journal about that on one of the This Was Fun cards. And then the last one there is my album. You can see the picture of the album front, the cover where I stamped on it. And if you didn't see that on Instagram, I do have a video coming soon to this channel where you will be able to see. Actually, I think it's actually already out, where you'll be able to see how that came together. So I will link that in the description box below, but I do have some more videos coming sharing how that album is coming together for me. But I wanted to just document that I was playing with that this weekend and part of this week, which happened to be a very fun week. If you saw earlier this quarter, I used the Fun Kit to tell the story of a week that was not fun because I had planned the kit in advance and it didn't end up being a fun week, but I made it work anyways. This week, I did plan it again in advance and it did work out to be a fun week. Part of how I knew it would work out, or I hoped it would work out, was because I had the fun day planned with my friends, which I knew would be fun. I knew I would have a good time. So if nothing else, that would be a fun piece of the week. I couldn't decide which side of this business card to include, but I ended up going with the one that had more information on it because the other side, while super cute with their logo, I wouldn't have remembered necessarily where it was from. And I know I had the name of the shop on the photo of us, but I wanted to use the business card to just make it clear that that's what that was for. For my journaling cards, this one is going to be a bullet point list. So I'm using my Zig dot marker and I'm using my Sarasa clip pen. If you've noticed, I kind of rotate through my favorite pens, but I do have them all linked in the description box below. And this one is a little bit drier than the Mark On. If you've got the Sarasa Mark On, which is one of my favorite pens. This one I sometimes prefer for journaling on non-slick paper like cardstock, as opposed to like the Tomoe River paper, which I like to use the Mark On because it dries super quickly. This one takes a little bit longer to dry, but it's still a very nice, smooth writing experience. On that bullet point list, I included a lot of fun things from the week. I also added on there going to the dentist, which was not fun, and so I made a comment of that, but I wanted to document it because it was something that happened this week. This card here, I'm doing longer journaling about my day with my friends, which was definitely the highlight of my week. So on the Friday, we spent the entire day in Beacon, New York, which is about an hour and a half drive south of where me and one of the Jenns live. So we drove down together and met our other friend Jenn there. And we had some lunch, we had some coffee, we chatted, we went to a bunch of stores, including a craft store. And it was just a really fun day. So I wanted to document that. And that was really kind of the highlight of the spread. I had 3 of these die cut pieces from the Fun Storyteller Kit that I had designated to go in this spread. I included that one on the photo of my mugs, and I had put 2 of them onto 2 of the photos from my day with my friends. When I was selecting photos to print for the 3x4 pockets, I knew I had those things to put on top of them. So I purposely printed the bookshelf and the sign of Beacon with the space on them to add those die cuts. Now I'm pulling out some of my chipboard from my chipboard organization. I do have a video explaining how I organize my chipboard if you're interested in that. But this was the friend category, which I pulled out to put a couple of chipboard pieces on some of my photos. And then I pulled out I think this is the home category because this is a photo of Pumpkin at home. And I wanted to put a chipboard on there as well, just to kind of embellish a little bit more on the spread. Then I end up doing one more chipboard on the Zaka Joy card, which you can't really see. It's at the top of the screen there. But I wanted to just put something else on here. So this one says, "There's no time to be bored in a world as beautiful as this." So I decided that would be kind of fun. I liked the shape and the color on it more than the sentiment, but I thought it worked fine. So I decided that that was enough embellishing. I didn't really want to do any embellishment clusters or anything because I used a few larger embellishments, and I feel like this is a bit of a busy spread because this was fun. Cards all across the center add a lot of color and decoration, so leaving some of my photos plain or just with one embellishment I thought worked really well to balance the spread. I'm just going ahead and slipping everything in the pockets, and then I'm going to call this one done. I really enjoyed putting this spread together, and I hope that you also enjoyed the video of it, but you can see this was definitely a quicker spread, which is what I wanted right now because I have a lot of projects that I am currently working on, and I love when project life can be fun and crafty, but I also love the opportunity to just kind of get it done when I have other things that I want to move on to. Here's a look at that completed spread. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and as always, I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye!